Good evening and welcome to Aging with Attitude. My name is George McCausland and I will be interviewing this young lady and Mary Buchan. Is that how you pronounce her last name?
They pronounce it that way in Scotland, but we pronounce it Buchanan here in America.
Just like Buchanan. Okay.
Right.
And you're a wellness nurse down at the YMCA, Dowd YMCA?
That's correct, yes.
And tell us why are you there? Why are you doing that?
I'm there. I actually practiced nursing in the hospital setting for 17 years.
Okay.
And after a while, just really wanted to do something differently and get out of the hospital. Many nurses like to kind of rewire and do something different after a while. I love exercise and have always been an exerciser. And in 2000, actually, I ran a marathon and it changed my life. And I decided if I can run a marathon, 26.2 miles, I can do anything I put my mind to.
Interesting, my daughter is working to run a marathon.
Wow.
She will be running, I think it's in Kentucky.
Okay.
In another month or two. And she never ran before, so she's running every day. And then you have symbols on the back of cars now, 3.2.
Okay, yes.
Which means you're part of the group and you've run half the distance.
Yeah.
So she's really enjoying it. Sorry to interrupt, but it's interesting.
It is interesting because it's a huge goal to achieve. So I realized that I love exercise and I like nursing, so I wanted to find a way to combine them. I met a nurse at the Siskey YMCA here in Charlotte, and she loved what she did, and I'm like, I want to do what she does, so I started volunteering over there. And after that, Carolina Medical had a job available, and I applied, and I was able to get a job at the Dowd Y.
Super. And you look after just seniors or anybody?
I look after anyone, but I would have to say that I do mostly see seniors. When people are young, they don't think they need to worry about blood pressure and stretching, and but as people begin to age, the body starts to talk to them, and they come and see me for some input. They tell you
there's something wrong.
Yeah.
How'd you get interested in the subject other than was it through your nursing work that you decided to make a change to exercise type?
Yeah, I just thought it was so neat to be able to combine exercise and nursing with helping people.
There you go.
And helping them, and basically helping them age well.
That'll make you a lot easier to age, right? It'll make your life a lot
I
easier.
was noticing that I was aging too, and well, here's the thing that really struck me when I started working at the Y. I saw people who were just really aging well. They were enjoying their lives. They were working out, enjoying their families. Then I noticed some other people that were struggling, and I'm sure this is true at any stage of our lives.
Yes, it is.
But I thought, what is it about the people that are not struggling that, well, I'm sure everyone struggles, but the ones who just really seem to be aging well, enjoying their lives as an active older adult, what makes them different? What are the keys there? And
did you find some good keys?
I have, actually. Yes, I have.
Before we get into the keys, one of the things I'd like you to explain to the people is the benefits that they can get from doing these things. My wife she's extremely active, and we talked about her earlier, but she's very active doing things that she shouldn't be doing in her estimation originally. So once we got her there, she loves rehab. I mean, she does all the exercise. Some days she'll do 3 miles around the track walking. Other days it's only 1, but then she works on all the other equipment. But she loves it, and I think she is part of an inspiration to the other women that are also there who didn't want to do any of that. Now they're all doing it. They do it together.
Awesome.
And you see such a change in people's lives when they start doing that. They have better attitude. They have a smile on their face all the time because they're very proud of what they've done. And it's too bad we can't get more seniors to that level rather than staying at home.
Yes.
Doing nothing. Maybe just watching TV, if that's even part of their life. A lot of them stay at home and read a lot.
Yes.
Which is fine, except you still have to be active.
Yes, that's true.
Do people come that are that way and ask you what you would like to do?
It's amazing. Like many cases, doctors refer people to us, and people who have just been struggling with a health condition, whether they had a heart attack, maybe they have arthritis, and they haven't been active, and we'll get them on a program, we'll get them exercising, and by like a couple weeks to a month to 6 weeks, they are just like a whole new person. They've either lost maybe 6 pounds in 6 weeks, or their countenance has changed. And I know that exercise, one of the benefits is you release endorphins.
That's true.
And these are wonderful natural painkillers that God gave us that we can release. And it helps you to get more oxygen to all of your cells, so your brain's going to be working better. You feel better about yourself. I feel like you can move, you're moving better, and you just have more confidence.
Yeah, the big thing is that first step to get them to the why. Not because it's the why, it's because you can be helped there.
That's right.
And I don't think they realize that. They think, well, I can't go to the Y because I used to go there when I was a kid, and I do all these swimming, and I play basketball. Well, no, that has nothing to do with it.
Right. Half of life really is just showing up. And I'm not going to put someone on the same exercise program who's 60 years old that I would put on a program who is 20. So we really have to rewire our exercise program as we age. When I was in my 20s, teens, 30s, I thought I had to work hard. I had to just kill myself, you know, and I would have to say it wasn't very fun. But then I get into my 40s and I realize I need to rewire this, and I am enjoying my personal exercise program so much more now, where I power walk several times a week, I strength train, and I might even, you know, do a group exercise class, and I feel better. And so.
And you try to get your senior members to do something similar, right?
Yes, a lot of times, especially if they have arthritis, or maybe they're even whether they're a senior or younger, whether they're might be way overweight, we'd want to get them in the water first. That's a wonderful place for people. Yeah, we have wonderful programs for seniors at all of our Ys.
Is it very expensive to do that? And you don't have to tell us what the price is, but is it expensive or reasonable, or?
I think it's reasonable. Okay. And there is the availability of financial assistance when anyone ever needs that.
Good point.
We never will turn anyone away.
Good point. Do you find people, seniors in particular, afraid to get in the water, to get in the pool, or?
I do sometimes, especially with certain populations of people who never learned how to swim when they were younger.
Yeah, that's true.
But our pool at the Y, at the Dowd Y, the warm water pool is only 4 feet 6 inches. I would not have them go in the 9-foot pool.
No, not that soon.
No.
That's kind of dangerous.
But so what we'll do is we'll go with them for that first class and introduce them to some of the other people, because part of aging well is also relationships and getting plugged in and staying connected. Yeah.
How would you train them? Would you take them pool first, and then to walking, or maybe aerobics, or I mean, what do you teach them in the beginning?
Each person is different.
Okay.
But let's say I have someone who has arthritis.
Okay.
The first place would be the pool.
Cool.
And then after they have that down for a couple weeks, we would bring in some strength training by connecting them to our fitness staff.
Good.
To make sure they're doing proper form. And we would do bands and balls, very light, but it is important for us to keep our muscles as we age. We do lose muscle as we age, but what's really neat is you can build muscle when you're 70. You can build muscle when you're 80.
No question about it. And then what do you do after that? Do you get them into any of the aerobics? Do you have aerobics there?
Well, the question you ask people is, do you like to exercise by yourself, or do you like to exercise in a group? Because everybody's different. So if they like to be in a group, yes, I would choose, we would look at our group exercise schedule and choose classes where they could plug in.
Good.
And so the goal is to not just get them plugged in to us in the health center, but to get them to know the fitness staff and the people at membership. And what I like about the Dowd Y, we have a fitness bar, and we have a really nice place where people can eat and fellowship and talk.
That's important.
Yeah. So.
When you go home, do you think that you should have done something else for these people, or do you feel that you have enough going right now to pretty well understand what they need and what helps them improve their life? I
feel like we really have what they need. They come in the particular program I'm thinking of, called Medical Referral, that I run. We ask them to come and see us once a week for 6 weeks. It's to launch them into a new exercise program. And so they're going to have that accountability. I'm going to ask them, how many days did you exercise? Because in the first session, we come up with our goals.
Good.
They say they're going to exercise maybe 3 days a week, 2 days a week. And the other neat thing is we have the opportunity for a nutrition class. So then they get the nutrition if they want it. And some people already say they're eating very healthy, so that's not important.
Well, it's interesting because the course my wife goes to, the rehab course, they have a guest speaker almost every Tuesday, who comes in and talks about their particular industry and how it relates to the people in the class.
I love that.
And it really works out well. For instance, there's a gentleman comes every year and he talks about oxygen and how you can get on an airplane, how you can get it onto a ship, how you can, and all the things you can do with it. Because people think that I can't get on an airplane with this thing. Not true.
Right.
Now there are strings that you must do certain things, but at least he tells you what you can do, what you can't do.
Right.
And people feel good. And I assume people who also are doing exercise would love to hear somebody say, well, here's what you can do if you keep this particular thing up with.
That's right. And at the end of the program, we help them transition so they feel like they can really do it by themselves.
Mm-hmm. Do they do a lot at home?
We actually include that, like we ask them, if you're wanting to work out, let's say 5 days a week,
Yeah.
2 of those days might be walking at home.
Super.
And actually you can do bands and balls at home, and I've got weights underneath my couch. Because after working at the Y all day, I don't necessarily want to go back to the Y, and I don't always have time to work out at the Y, even though I work there. And
were you an athlete when you were younger?
I was. I mean, I wasn't a Miss Super athlete, but I ran track, I played volleyball, I loved to dance, so I was on drill team in high school, and I've always been active. I love to move. Yeah.
When you raced, how far were you running? Was it a mile, half mile?
I was short distance runner. In
880, 440, something like that.
I believe it was the 4-yard dash or
40?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
40. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty popular. Or 50.
I can't remember. I need to get my brain moving
You
here.
need to train your head.
That's right.
No, actually, as one gets older, we tend to not. We put away things we didn't want to remember back in those days.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, my son said, "You didn't remember his name." I said, "You know, in the business I was in, I had to remember everybody who was on the trips, but to remember their names was not important. People want to just be recognized."
Right.
And if you can recognize people like for doing exercises, recognize them for doing a good job, they'll love it and they'll keep going.
True.
The trouble is most people don't want to do that. They don't want to say, great job, keep it up, and whatever. And that's what people want to hear.
People need
need a pat in the back.
like a cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a health coach.
And it makes a big difference. I coached for many years, so I can tell you it makes a big difference with kids when you're coaching them.
What did you coach?
Oh, I coached hockey because I'm from not far from where you guys. I'm from Canada originally, up in Toronto.
Okay.
Born and raised, so I did a lot of hockey there, did a lot of coaching down here. But I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the fun and the exercise involved. Number one, I made sure that the kids were in good shape.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to worry about passing, shooting, or anything for the first 4 or 5 practices. It'd be all skating. Skating, backwards, sideways, and it made a big difference. One of the coaches said to me, how'd you get in good shape? I said, that's all we did for the first 4 or 5 practices. You've got to get in shape to play any sport or to run. Like with your miles and your 10 miles or whatever. If you're not in shape to run, you're not going to do it.
And that's why it takes 6 months to train for a marathon.
No question about it. Yeah, you got to build up to it.
That's right.
And my daughter's doing that now, and she's feeling so good.
It does.
It's unbelievable.
You'll be able to follow her when she does her race. My dad followed me. They put a little chip in her shoe.
Oh, you're kidding. I never heard of such a thing. That's interesting. Okay, let's see what else. Anyhow, you're having a lot of fun, and if people want to join, they just call the Y?
Yes, they can call, and or if they just have a health question, I'm a resource for the Y and for the community.
Okay.
For Carolina Medical and the Y.
Okay. So what are some of the keys for aging well? Is it just exercise, or are there other things that you have in mind?
Well, along with not neglecting our physical health, we
Yeah.
want to keep on learning.
Okay.
And yeah, we know people who do crossword puzzles and Sudoku. That's very helpful. And even seniors who they go on trips for the elder hostels. And have you heard of those?
Sure.
I have a man who came into my program at the Y, and he goes on the trips all the time. It's a learning excursion.
Super.
So keep on learning, keep on dreaming. We don't want to neglect our emotional health. We want to always have something to look forward to. My father-in-law, he's 89. He's getting ready to go on another cruise. He loves to go on cruises. So
Does he go with the gals?
he goes with his wife.
His wife. Okay. Yeah.
And we want to keep on loving. It's important to have good relationships, to have a social support system.
You mean to have a girlfriend?
Well, our grandkids, our kids,
that's
our
good for
wife and husband, and then we need to keep on praying. We don't want to neglect our spiritual health, because when people can't meet all of our needs, or the things in the world can't, we have that connection with a higher power.
Sure. Good point. All good points. And so do you teach that in your classes?
Yes,
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And what's fun, my favorite thing is meeting people with people one-on-one, hearing their stories, hearing where they got stuck, and then helping them to come up with a plan so that they can move on and get their feet back on the ground. And often the first step might be getting physically active.
Well, they're telling you because they want you to help them.
That's right.
And it's amazing what you can do to help them with all the different facilities that are available.
It's true.
But the number one is the person.
It is.
You have to get person to person with them.
That's right.
Because my wife loves the nurses because they're so pleasant to her. There's one guy there that sort of runs everything, and he's okay.
Okay.
But she really enjoys it. And then if she's not there, they'll call or say, what seems to be the problem? Why aren't you here? Or whatever. So they take a great interest in you. And that makes a tremendous difference, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things you do for the people?
Well, I do like what I'm doing right now. I might go out and speak. I've spoken at mall walkers.
Oh, my goodness.
Got to go to Harbor of Hope at First Baptist Church recently. We run cancer wellness programs.
Okay.
Many seniors deal with cancer.
True.
For the active older adults, we also have trips, like to the vineyards, or we'll have day trips that the different Ys will sponsor.
That's true. That's a good idea.
The people at my Y, the seniors love, they really love the water exercise. And they love their, just like you said, your wife gets attached to the nurses, they love their water instructors. And then they love to come by the health center and get their blood pressure and touch base with us.
So you take their blood pressures and
Yep.
tell them whether they're doing good or not?
Yeah, I give them the numbers. And
That's a good start.
many of them do keep track of that. And I feel like that's smart for a senior to take an active role in their health by keeping track of their numbers, whether it's blood pressure, which we want to be below 120 over 80, and we don't want it to be above 140 over 90. And cholesterol numbers, of course we want the total number to be below 200. And the other numbers like blood
Well, you know,
sugar.
it's interesting because for many years I was 160 over 80.
Ooh.
And they said my blood pressure was normal for 20 years.
Ooh, that's
Well,
high.
they keep lowering it
They do. They do.
to sell more medication.
And to prevent heart attacks
But it
and
hasn't
strokes.
made that big a difference.
Maybe not. I haven't researched it.
And the average person who has a heart attack
Yeah.
and it goes into emergency room don't normally have high cholesterol.
That's very interesting.
And so
But they do have high blood pressure, don't they?
in most cases,
Yes,
yeah.
right.
Well, that's because it's been lowered to I mean, eventually it's going to be 90. 90 is going to be normal. I mean,
It may be.
come on, guys.
We'll
quit it.
see.
Well, the same with cholesterol. It used to be, what, 100 used to be normal. Now they want it to be 60 or something.
Yeah, as far as the bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they just keep lowering it, and they hope to increase all their business. That's all they're doing it for.
It seems like it.
Oh, there's no other reason. Because there's no study ever done to show it's made a difference. Anyhow,
That would be a good study.
it would be a good study if they would do it. Okay, what else have we got here is, I think you've covered most of these wonderful topics, so.
I wanted to share a couple really neat people. I'm not going to say their names, but who
That's
have
okay.
come to my health center.
By all means.
And their lives have been changed. And one of them is a gentleman in his early 70s. He moved to Charlotte, and he is such an inspiration. He's already involved in the community, helping an underprivileged school. He's a part of the Rotary Club, but he came in because he needed help because of a hip replacement, and we got him on a 6-week program, so he knew that his physical health was important. But he's very active, and he also does the elder hostel trips.
Oh, does he?
So, I mean, he just amazes me how active he is.
And how old is he?
I believe he's 72. And then there's a 92-year-old who came to my health center, a young lady, I was going to say, but an active older adult, and it was her first time ever in a gym. And she had her driver drive her. She had a Miss Daisy driver, so it was like driving Miss Daisy, but he brought her to the Y twice a week.
Wow.
And she had never been in a gym before, and she got on the recumbent bike and the new step, and she really enjoyed it. And I just thought, there is no excuse. I mean, we can't say our age is our excuse for not
Yeah.
exercising.
Well, it's interesting because one of the gals in my wife's rehab, she's 88. Oh. And she has a problem with asthma. So at certain times of the year, she really doesn't do too well.
Right.
But other than that, she does all the exercises, lives by herself,
That is so
enjoys life. I think the attitude makes a big difference in people.
It really does.
Because if you get a bad attitude, you're going to go right down the hill.
That's true. We have to age with that right attitude.
That's true.
And we have to have spunkiness too.
That helps. And you keep learning, you neglect your intellectual health. That's interesting.
Well, I tell you, I went to New Zealand in 2000 to speak and do a few things, and I met a lady on the airplane, and boy, did she inspire me. She was in her 80s at this point. Wow. But when she was like 65, she went back to college to get her registered dietitian.
Wow.
And she told me I loved her because she was just so full of life and passion and positive and excited. But she told me how to get 5 fruits and vegetables into my diet. I'll never forget it. You drink half a glass of juice for breakfast and eat half a banana, so you've already gotten 2. And then for lunch, eat yourself a nice hefty salad, and hopefully that's about 2 servings. And then for dinner, you eat a couple vegetables with your lean meat serving. And you know, that's about 5 to 6 vegetables a day.
Wow.
You can do that. And I thought, I could do that. That's very easy.
Yeah, true. It's amazing what's available to people to learn on how to look after themselves. One of the big things is a group like yours. If we get more people into those groups, the better everybody would be off. But people don't want to do that for some reason.
There's a barrier.
Yeah, and I don't know what the barrier is, because maybe they don't feel they'll fit in there. They're not going to look good, or some. I don't know what it is. And it's too bad we couldn't get to all those people and say, no, you'll have fun. Come join us.
It seems like often when people come to my programs, maybe they've had a friend who's taken the program.
Good point.
And they're like, well, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
If she can get in a bathing suit, I can get in a bathing suit, you know.
Because it's available to all seniors, and
that's right.
You don't have that big a percent of them because for some reason, they just don't want to be there. And as you get older, it's better to have things like that to do.
Yeah.
It keeps your mind better. It keeps you in better shape to move around, walk around, do what you have to do.
It takes courage, I think, to step out of our comfort zone.
True.
It's safer to just stay at home and watch life versus take that step to get connected and get involved.
With the presentations you make to groups, do you find when you give them a question and answer, do they have questions about why should I do this, or do you think it's going to do me any good, or do they have any common questions that they have to ask you?
I would say that they all know that they need to get moving, but I think they just don't always know how. A lot of times people think it just has to be in a gym, or it just has to look like this, or it just has to look like that. If people could find something that they love to do, whatever that is, that's going to be the very best exercise program for them.
Cool. Good point.
And if you can even think of things you enjoyed as a child, like I love to ride bikes, or I love to swim, so I should do stuff like that as I'm aging.
Of course.
It might not look the same. I might ride the bike slower, but I mean, you still can have fun doing it.
We can get on a bike in the gym.
Exactly. You can get on one of
I
them.
have one at home and I watch TV.
That's great.
Time goes by in a hurry.
It does.
No, there's a lot of things you can do, and it seems like we seniors want to fight it, and we don't want to do it. You see so many seniors, they don't want to go to their house, they won't go for a walk, they won't do anything. They want to stay home and just pass on because they're doing nothing. And
So
it
they
really
need
affects
hope.
them. Yeah, they do, and I don't know how to do that.
You know, I found a secret, and I discovered this. I wish I would have realized it sooner in the past year, that if you can connect a person's purpose in life with their reason for getting healthy or keeping their health, it's going to make a huge difference. Like if someone comes to me and
Good point.
I ask them, why is this important to you? I would like to be able to play with my grandkids.
Good point.
I had a gentleman, he wanted to be able to get over in his car and fix it for 25 minutes. He'd hurt his back. So it took 6 months but he got well enough where he was actually able to work on his car again because he loved to work on his car. So if a person has hope and they have something to look forward to, that's going to give them a reason to do it.
And everybody has hope, and everybody has a reason for doing things. That's super.
If you can just
ideas.
find out why.
Yeah, that's it. And if they can only ask themselves, why don't I try to do this? Instead of just sitting there and complaining about it.
And look at, well, if I don't do it, I may continue to put on weight or not be able to move as well. And the important thing with active older adults, it's functional fitness.
True.
It's programs that help them be able to put away their groceries, go grocery shopping, tie their own shoes, open their own can of soup. I'm not trying to make them Superman or super athlete. I just want them to be able to do their activities of daily living well.
And that's so important. A lot of people have forgotten
Without
how to do
injury.
that. They want someone else to open this and want somebody else to make them their coffee, their tea, or whatever. They can still do it.
Yep, they can. It might be a little slower, but that's okay.
Well, like my wife on the boat, on the ship, she said, I'm going slow. I said, I don't care. You can walk backwards for all it matters. I'm in a hurry. But it's hard to get to that position where you go slow before you go fast.
Yes, that's true.
And people don't realize that, and
And
they don't
it's
want people to
okay.
notice that. So if people they're going to look at you and say they don't like your hair.
That's right.
Does that mean you're not going outside because you have hair in your head?
That's
No.
right.
So it's so many other things in life that are important, and number one is your health.
That's right. And as we age, we need to realize we're not retiring whenever we change careers, but we rewire and we put our
Good point.
energies and efforts into new things.
Good point. And so you think there's hope for us old folks then?
Oh, I know there is, and there is for me, and there is for my parents, there is for my patients. I think it can be the most wonderful time of life.
Do you think nursing helped you get to this stage in your life?
Yes, because I've met all these amazing seniors, amazing active older adults, and I love them all.
Well, we're down to our last minute, and I just wanted to remind everybody that Aging with Attitude is on every second and third Saturday on TV 21 at 8:30 in the evening. And we'll let you know when your show is going to be on so you can have a look at it.
Thank you.
But we really enjoyed having you. I hope people listen to you.
Thank you so much. I
Because
enjoyed
it'll
being
make
here.
such a big difference. And keep up the good singing. I understand you're a singer also.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Do you sing any particular type of song?
I do.
Like ballads or
I
rock
write
and
my
roll?
own music.
Oh, do you? Oh, and play it on your guitar.
Yes, sir.
What else do you do in your spare time?
3 children, 2 dogs, and a husband.
Other than that, everything's normal.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Have a good evening. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Enjoyed it.
Are we still on? No.